8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is Liam Hendricks, and you're watching Crosstown Crosstalk on the Barroom Network.
Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised.
Every summer in Chicago, the sunshine spotlights the city's spectacular skyline. Its luxurious lakeshore, marvelous monuments, and the over 200 neighborhoods in the city. And it also brings to light two of the greatest sports franchises in the world. On the north side, it's the Cubs. On the south side, it's the White Sox. This is Crosstown Crosstalk.
Hello and welcome to another very exciting episode of Crosstown Crosstalk presented by the Barroom Network. My name is Vinnie Parisi and I am super stoked to be here with each and every one of you. The baseball season is about 10% old. Major League Baseball, every team's played roughly like 16 to 17 games, depending on how their schedule has broken out. The Chicago White Sox have been trashola. The Chicago Cubs have actually been pretty good. We're going to do this show off the script today because I have a very special guest, somebody who has become a close internet friend over the last couple years. He is the 108 tournament champion of the year 2022. He is the inventor of Cue the Motherfucking Blues Brothers. Of course, I'm talking about Brian Knights. Brian, how's it going, pal?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Vinny?
Very, very good. You've had a very interesting last couple weeks, eh?
It's been a fun ride, that's for sure. But we're officially back home as of about 10 o'clock this morning, and it's good to be back. But I'm a road dog. I wish I was still out there.
Very good. You are a road dog. I was having so much fun keeping up with it. We'll touch on that in just a second. You made it one round further than me in the 108 tournament this year. You came up just short. Who'd you lose to? Did you lose to
Summer George?
Summer George, who was the champion right before you, right? So obviously some great competition there. I lost to Celeste, who was just on an absolute heater.
Yeah, she's a wagon.
You narrowly beat her. You narrowly beat her en route to winning, right?
Correct. That is correct.
Yeah, I got to step up my game next year. You know what sucked this year? I got really sick. I'm talking like throw up, flu, sick.
Ooh.
The week of the 108 tournament. And
That's a bad time.
And I had a good showing. Sure. I thought I had a good showing when I was healthy, and then I got sick, and I had no chance against Celeste when she was pumping out videos every 10 seconds.
Yeah, you got to be 110% to take down her. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt. So, was it the Pepper Trail 2.0 that you just got back from? Is that what we were calling it? Tell me a little bit about it.
It was the Road Dog Bucket Boy Mississippi Delta College Baseball Pepper Trail 1.0. It was absolutely incredible. We spent the night in Memphis, went out on Beale Street. We were like the only people there, but it was a great time nonetheless. And then the plan was Friday night, Mississippi State, and then Saturday night, Nashville. But Mississippi State was just too much goddamn fun. We could not leave. So we stayed, and it was unbelievable. It's my favorite place on earth now.
Okay, really quick. Have you ever been to Nashville?
No, I've not.
Okay, Nashville I've been to twice. Neither of them were sports related, and most of my trips are sports related. Actually, no, the first one was sports related. I went to NIU versus Vanderbilt. I'm an idiot, but we spent more time on Broadway, so it didn't feel like one. You had to be having a shit ton of fun to say, "Oh, Nashville, not for me right now."
Yeah, Starkville's where it's at. It's unbelievable. It's like the baseball experience on its own is an indescribable time, and then. I mean, what we were doing post-game, just at a bar with Dak Prescott and hanging out, and it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Even when we were just back at the house with Fireball Jay, I mean, it was unbelievable. You couldn't – it's impossible to explain it in a way where anyone would understand. You just have to go down there. You have to go in the rigs, and you got to just do it because it's indescribable, and it's that much fun. Like, it's unbelievable.
I know what Dak Prescott told you guys about our quarterback, but why don't you tell the folks at home that are most of our following on this show is Chicago fans, and the Barroom Network is mostly it started as a Chicago Bears program network. So tell the people, what did Dak Prescott, the star quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, tell you?
An alleged Mississippi State source, may or may not be named Dak Prescott, I asked him, I said, as a Chicago guy, I got to know, is Justin Fields the guy? And he said, Justin Fields is the guy. So Justin Fields is the guy. We have a quarterback, place your Super Bowl futures, place your MVP futures. The Bears are back.
There you go. Bears are back because Dak Prescott is totally the guy that I always want to trust when it comes to everything and anything quarterback related for sure.
It was a great time. He was buying Miller Lite buckets. Like I love the guy now. That's my he's outside Justin Fields, Dak Prescott is my quarterback.
Okay. I'm taking him in fantasy next year, 3rd round, and then I'll take Fields as my backup in the last round. I'm just kidding. I don't draft a backup. Brian, college baseball, not very popular here in the Midwest. You go to the South and college rules everything. You know, you talk about Alabama and Auburn and, you know, the entire SEC program. Why is college baseball so cool? Like, what were some of your experiences that make it something that maybe someone from the Midwest might want to check out?
That was like my first real college baseball experience. Like I've been to like the UIC games and like the meaningless ones, but you go down there to like Starkville, where it's legit all they have. Like everyone down there is like a Braves fan, but like they're not like, if the Braves are on the TV, cool, but like if not, nobody really gives a shit. College baseball, Mississippi State baseball is their number one sport. Like here we could be like, all right, I'm a White Sox fan, I'm a Bears fan, I'm a Blackhawks fan. You could rank them. There, Mississippi State baseball is one, and it's all they care about. They had 46,000 people in that stadium over the 3 days we were there. They set the single game record, and they set the weekend-long record that weekend. And it was them and Ole Miss, both teams that are at the bottom of the rankings in the SEC this year. And it's unbelievable. And they're so passionate, and everyone there is so nice, and they make some damn good food, and the beers are cold. It doesn't get any better.
So you say Mississippi State and Ole Miss, they're at the bottom of the ranking. Was it Ole Miss like really good last year? Or are they expected?
So Mississippi State 2 years ago won the national championship in 2021. Ole Miss won the national championship last year. This year they both suck. But it was that expected? No, I don't know. I'm not dialed into college baseball. Now I am. Hail State. I'm a Mississippi State fan for the rest of my life. I don't care. Go Bulldogs.
Did you meet Brandon Walker?
I did.
How was he?
He's a good guy. Good guy. He's exactly what you expect.
That's interesting.
He followed me back, so he's my guy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. My only interaction with him, he threatened to block me one time, and then because he said, and I have video proof of it. He said that he thought Florida. This was like 3 years ago. He thought Florida had no shot at winning the SEC, and it was when Kyle Trask was coming in and they had Pitts. And then he said he didn't say that and threatened to block me. And he let Old Takes Exposed determine my future, whether or not I got blocked or not. And Old Takes Exposed had my back, but it was all in good fun. But yeah, I like Brandon Walker.
Very nice man, family man, very firm Southern handshake. It was a pleasure meeting him.
Very cool. Now, what was it like to go on a road trip with Carl, who I've wanted to get on this show for the longest time? I've had White Sox Dave. I'd had Chief. I can't get Carl. I love Carl. He's a baseball guy. It's kind of odd that, like, of all the Chicago guys, the Cubs guy is the one that has been my favorite follow over the last couple years. As a White Sox fan myself, you know that. But
as a White Sox fan, my closest relationship is with the Cubs guy. It's weird, but it makes no sense. But like, he's my fucking dude. I love him.
What was he like on this trip? It had to be cool talking baseball with him.
It was a crowd. I mean, on the way down there, shout out Posnansky. We listened to his book. He was ranking the top 100 baseball players of all time, and he'd do like 20 minutes on like every guy, and like say just outrageous stories that you've never heard before. He like dove deep into like random guys from like the Negro leagues that you've never heard of before in your life, and just incredible stories, incredible stats, and he ranked them all. So we listened to the entire thing. That's what was a majority of our road trip listening, and it was a great time. I mean, you saw the content. It was what you saw in the content is what we were doing. Like we didn't hide anything. That was the road trip. We grinded out the 20 plus hours we spent in the car. A lot of Red Bulls, a lot of 20-ounce Red Bulls were flowing. That's pretty much it. But it was a good time, and I can't wait to do it again.
I'm not gonna lie, it makes me a psychopath too. I enjoy a good 20-ounce Red Bull every now and again. I can't act like I'm the only one. Like I'm definitely not opposed to those.
I got these little 8.4 guys because they sell that giant pack at Costco. But like when I'm going to class in the morning, 3 of these at least.
Absolutely. Really quick, and then we'll start talking about this dreadful baseball team that we cheer for. What was the best thing you had to eat on your trip to, the
Ooh.
South?
In Memphis, we had some ribs and catfish. That was pretty good. But so like in the outfield there at Mississippi State, it's you get in like 4 hours early, and then everyone has like these like you have your own little like area, and it's like a concrete pad, and then you have like 3 sets of bleachers. It's like you have like 6 each or something, but everyone just stands. Everyone just has a good time. You pack the shit out of it, and everyone has like 30 smoke. Everyone has a smoker or a grill or something. And just the entire outfield, you just see smoke going up because everyone's grilling. So we had our guy Frog. He made us hot dogs. Those were pretty solid. Some grilled pineapple from him as well. The guys next to us made bloomin' bologna, so they like cut it up. So when they smoked it, it like fell apart like a bloomin' onion. That was delicious. But the best thing we had was night 1, Friday night. Our guy Michael Berner and Fireball Jay that we were down there with, they had a chef in the thing with us, and he was whipping up red snapper tacos at a baseball game. You could have touched the warning track from where this guy was cooking the red snapper tacos, and they were incredible. I did a review. It's on Twitter. I did a review of the taco. It blows your dick off. It's unbelievably good.
That sounds really good. Something that I would absolutely love to try. A red snapper taco. I'm going to get down to Mississippi State. I'm really your whole trip with Carl and, following along all that. Because I've been to Atlanta. I've been to the Battery where the Braves play and all that. And I really like the Southern sports experience. It's a lot different than here in the Midwest. It's a lot more like diehard, like, what are we going to do to make this like a full-on experience rather than just go to the game and then go home. And, so that's what I like about it. But our team here in Chicago, there's no way I'd rather start talking about them with you specifically, is the Andrew Vaughn fucking Rakes Club. He finally hit his first home run of the season yesterday. I was there to see it, and it was like pretty cool because Trey Turner just hit his first of the season, longer than you would expect for that guy to hit a home run in a season. Same thing for Andrew Vaughn 1 inning later. What have you made outside of the lack of power per se, would you say about Andrew Vaughn to start this season?
I mean, he's been on base for 18 straight games. The Andrew Vaughn fucking Rakes Club. I mean, he's the most consistent, productive guy this team has. And whether if we want to talk about it was his first home run of the season, nobody on this team outside of Luis Robert and Jake Berger are hitting home runs. So it's not a big deal. We had the power outage last season. That's clearly carrying over to this year. So if that's Andrew Vaughn's first, that's fine. He's going to hit 20. He's going to hit 25. I'm not worried about it. But he's getting on base. He's giving us a chance to win. But we only score runs in 1 of 9 innings every game. So it's not a recipe for success.
And how do you feel about the other Andrew on the team, Andrew Benintendi, off to a slow start power-wise, obviously, but nobody's really expecting too much power from him. But, he had a tough start otherwise as well. Yeah,
I mean, he's adjusting. I'm not too worried about it. But, I mean, the whole team stinks right now. So it's hard to be like Andrew Benintendi is why we suck. Like, the entire team is brutal.
Yeah. And are you out on the team as a whole for 2023 though? I know we're in April, but they got the raise.
I'm gonna talk myself into it just like I did last year. I'm gonna they'll win 4 straight, and I'll be like, we're back, and then they'll lose 6, and I'll be like, oh, we're dead again. I'll do that whole cycle again because I'm a madman and I have mental problems, and the White Sox are the cause of all those.
Yeah, for sure. This pitching staff has been tough to watch, I would say, for a majority of the season so far. Obviously, Dylan Cease is an absolute beast. Every single game he goes out there and shoves. His most recent game was his worst start, and he only gave up 2 runs. I think 2 earned runs, and then 2 extra were unearned or something crazy like that. And then the bullpen is just flat out bad. But is there any sign of light for you on the pitching staff, besides Dylan Cease, maybe the way Giolito's pitched the last 2 games or something like that?
Yeah, I was gonna say just how Giolito looked. That was yesterday, right? How Giolito looked yesterday. I mean, absolutely lights. Not yesterday, 2 days ago. My days are all jumbled. I'm a road dog. They all blend together. But Giolito, he's looking sharp. It's just night game Giolito and day game Giolito are completely different humans. So outside of Cease and Giolito, it's tough. You can kind of spin it with Lance Lynn. You could say he's settled in nicely as long as he can figure out that first inning. then he could be all right. But we don't have the depth to survive all 5 of these guys in the rotation not being at least serviceable.
You call Garrett Crochet a naughty, naughty boy, and he is a
He's a
naughty,
naughty
naughty,
fella.
dirty,
He
a
is
naughty
a
fella.
naughty
That's
fella.
what it is. You got to be pretty pumped about him coming back because I honestly think the talent on that guy is unbelievable. If he could come back from the Tommy, feeling good about himself, I think the sky's the limit.
That's why I'm kind of not. The White Sox are dead, but I haven't put the toe tag on them. They're not in the morgue yet. They're just chilling in the basement next to the fish tank, just dead on the couch right now.
Yeah.
So Garrett Crochet coming back, Liam Hendricks coming back, Tim Anderson coming back, Yohan Mikado, if he comes back, what's going on with his back? Like, is he not back? Is he back? He's got a sore back. I don't know what's going on. So we get them back and go on a run. It's possible, but we need to survive this month, and it's not looking pretty.
Yeah.
But Garrett Crochet. I mean, I don't see how he's going to push to be a starter, and I think with the way the rotation looks, he's earned that right. So just see if it works. I mean, you'll have to spend more time in AAA to figure that out. But this year, do the Kopech plan. Make him a reliever again this year. Have him be lights out. And then next year, you start the grind towards getting a lefty starter in the rotation. And the name is Naughty Fella.
Naughty fella. Where do you stand, Brian, on when people bring up advanced statistics? Because for me, I'm half and half. I'll look at them and use them as a tool to evaluate players, but it's not like the end all be all like it is for some people. And then there are some people that are just so out on it that call you a loser if you even look at the advanced statistics. I try to be somewhere in the middle and use the eye test and the statistics. So where do you stand on that whole area of the game of baseball?
I'm in for it, but it's also like the people that are like it's only advanced statistics, but then like throw batting average out of the window. Like, what are you talking about? Like, if a guy's hitting 330, that's fantastic. I don't care what the advanced statistics say. So I'm a mix of both. Like, I don't know.
Well, the reason I ask is because Mike Clevenger, who had a pretty awful start yesterday, was, his expected ERA, I think they call it. It's like what your other things you do say your ERA should be, and you could get lucky out of it not being as high according to this metric. His expected ERA is over 6. And so the advanced statistic people are predicting that this big downfall is in store for Mike Clevenger. Do you buy that kind of stuff?
I mean, if they're just projecting a regression from him based off of his first start in Houston where he was lights out, yeah, that's going to happen. Mike Clevenger's not going to shut down lineups every single day. He gave up 2 home runs yesterday, and then he got in the third. He threw maybe 800 pitches in that third inning. It took forever. But, yeah, I mean, I could say that Lance Lynn's expected ERA is 9 because he gets his dick blown off in the first inning every day. But then he settles in. So the stats are all going to be all jumbled up. None of it's going to make any sense. Just use the eye test. If Lance Lynn looks like how he has, chances are the White Sox aren't going to win many games when he's on the mound. If Lucas Giolito, I bet you the advanced statistics said Lucas Giolito was going to stay bad, and then he went and almost threw a no-hitter. It makes absolutely no sense. It's all made up. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and obviously I just hope, regardless of what any statistics say, the White Sox find ways to win. But if this team continues to kind of hover around 500 or be within 5 games of 500, not the worst, they're not the Oakland A's, right? But they're also, so far from being, that's they stink. They're about to get sold or sent away.
They may not win 40 games, but they bought the land in Vegas, so good for them.
I think 30 and 132 is their on pace for right now. Obviously, that's not realistic because you can regress to the mean in a positive way too. But but they're really bad. And then you got teams like the Rays who are so good, 16-3 or whatever they are. The Yankees are obviously really good. If the White Sox are a middle ground team, probably not going to make a wild card team, and it's obvious by late July. Are you a seller? If you're Rick Hahn, do you move whoever might be available? I don't even know Tim Anderson, Dylan Cease, Lucas Giolito, guys like that who might gain interest from other teams?
I think you have to. If we're not competing for the AL Central at least come the trade deadline, what are we doing? Unless you're just going to hold on to it again and then actually do something, like if you're going to hold on to it and say, all right, we're going to go give Shohei Ohtani $1 billion, then you keep everyone. But if you're not going to do that and you're just going to keep going, oh, we'll bring back Elvis Andrus on a 1-year deal, and you're going to keep plugging second base, that's been the problem for a decade, then sell everybody because you're not serious about winning like you said you were. Like, that's evident and it's a fact. And if they just want to keep pumping shit through the media that just propaganda that we're trying, no, you're not. So if you're actually going to try and you're going to say, oh, we're going to go give Shohei Ohtani the biggest contract in MLB history, then fine. But if you're not going to do that, then sell everybody and start over because this isn't working.
Absolutely. I'm with you. And you spent the last couple days with one of the better Cubs followers on Twitter.com. Obviously, Carl is outstanding, and that man loves the Cubs. I think it's just so obvious just through reading his tweets and the blogs for all these years that he's an extremely big Cubs fan. What is your kind of takeaway from the Cubs start? I know I don't know if you like cheer against them or whatnot, but like what's going on with you with what's going on with the Cubs right now?
I want them to lose every single game that they play.
Okay.
My like core friend group. There's like 7 of us,
Uh-huh.
and the Cubs fans in the group chat so far. There's 4 Sox fans, 3 Cubs fans. So the Cubs fans have been talking that shit, and they're insufferable, and they've been insufferable since opening day. And I want them to go on like the longest losing streak in MLB history, just so I don't receive any more text messages from them.
Interesting.
I think it's a fluke too. I mean, they're playing you swept the Oakland A's. Congratulations. Like they're gonna regress, and they're not a good team. They're just not a good team. They're passionate. They try hard. I wish we had guys like I've always said this. Give me 9 Nicky Delmonicos and let's ride. Like give me somebody that wants to be there, somebody that's trying to be there, somebody has to be there to legit play well to save their job.
Absolutely. Aldo puts
and the Cubs have those guys.
Yeah, they do, and they play hard every single game. I like what David Ross has done as a manager so far in his young managerial career. But, as Aldo says, do you agree with this? They need a new GM, not a total teardown.
I don't think the GM matters with this team. I think no matter what, they're going to be handcuffed by the amount of money they're allowed to spend and all that. So, I mean, yeah, sell or isn't sell the team. Get a new owner. The only way this ever changes is new ownership.
And we've seen it across the league as a whole. I mean, I'm not saying a guy like Steve Cohen needs to buy the White Sox because that's highly unlikely. But ever since it's more like the Wilpons don't own the Mets anymore, and they've all of a sudden risen to the top in terms of proper payroll usage and, acting like a big market team, even though they're the second team in the city. Similar situation to the White Sox. So hopefully that gets done.
The Sox could have Theo Epstein right now. It's probably not going to be any better.
The only way like the White Sox would be able to like really have sustained success, I think, with Jerry as their owner, is if they adopted some kind of like Billy Bean or whatever's going on in Tampa Bay. Like even that like takes incredible amount of luck and skill that I just don't think the White Sox have.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going down in Tampa Bay scouting department, but they got to have the smartest people and the best baseball minds alive because the fact that they have this many good guys on zero money contracts, it makes no sense. But
it is.
They're doing something right. They're doing something right.
They sure are. Brian, I know you probably watch more baseball than just the White Sox do, and obviously you're venturing into college baseball. But is there anything that is going on around the league where you're like, that's must-see TV for me? I'm all in on this. It does nothing to do with the White Sox. What gets you going in terms of the baseball world right now?
Honestly, the Detroit Tigers. They're a scrappy bunch. They're a lot of fun. If the White Sox keep this up, I could see us being behind them in the standings. The Tigers, I mean, 5 in a row, 3 walk-offs, I think. It's incredible stuff.
Yeah. Detroit's fun to watch.
Other than that, Tampa. I mean, Tampa is just a bunch of just smart baseball players. Like, they just know what they're doing. They're talented. They're not making a bunch of money. They're just there to compete, and they do it every single day. It's unbelievable. I think Seattle's going to go on a run. I like Seattle a lot. Other than that, I mean, the Diamondbacks are electric. The Orioles are electric. These young teams are great. But and the White Sox have lost that fire. So I like seeing the dugout celebrations from the Orioles. I like seeing the young D-backs going out there and doing their thing. and I wish the White Sox could get some of that fire back.
And there's a lot of dialogue, speaking of the D-backs, and Joe put it in the chat about Madison Bumgarner, like out on that guy coming to the White Sox, right? Or would you actually just want it because it's fun?
What are we going to – we're going to bring Dallas Keuchel back? Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
What would that do for us?
Absolutely nothing. I'm with you on that. I'm out on that idea as well. And we kind of touched on Shohei Ohtani. You brought him up when talking about like if the White Sox don't trade everyone at the deadline, like you better go out and make a move like that. As just a sports fan, do you get down with watching Shohei Ohtani as often as you can?
Yes, I mean it's must see TV. I mean, if you're not like I got the MLB TV package. Like if you're not tuning into every Shohei Ohtani start, there's something wrong with you. Because chances are he's going to do something magical.
Yeah, I completely agree. So really quick before we let you go, we can't thank you enough for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. The Chicago Bears, they have the 9th overall pick next Thursday. It's going to be interesting. Have you been keeping up with the NFL draft? You have a hope and dream and what you want? I know there's the Northwestern kid that might go in that range. They might trade back and take somebody else. Obviously, I kind of think from like 10 to 25, it could be kind of, rotated between who goes where, and 1 through 10 seem pretty locked up. What's your take right now?
I mean, it feels like there's a lot of smoke screens going on. There's conflicting reports all over the place. Kaplan reported that they're looking to trade out of 9. There's another guy today that said don't sleep on Bijan Robinson to the Bears at 9. Jalen Carter's still out there. I honestly don't think they can go wrong at this point. Like you could stay at 9. You could take Skronsky. You could take Jalen Carter. I'm fine with either one of those. If you take Bijan, that's he's an electric guy, electric running back. But you always run the risk with running backs. Do we really need a running back right now? I'm perfectly fine going in with juice. So I think our needs are the lines. So let's stick with the lines.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Brian, I can't thank you enough for joining our show. It has been an absolute pleasure. Why don't you take a minute or two here to promote what you got going on, tell people about what you want them to see, cue the motherfucking Blues Brothers, even though it's been cue landslide significantly more lately. What's going on in the world of Brian Knights in the content department?
I mean, yeah, if you guys know who I am, it's Brian Knights 3 on Twitter. The White Sox post games every single day. Cue the motherfucking Blues Brothers. Those are the more fun ones to do. But yesterday, cue landslide, we had good rants. If you want to watch me get really angry at this team, tune in for the losses. I just started putting them on TikTok as well. We're trying to grow that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's the post games, the college baseball stuff. Obviously, hopefully that video should be coming out soon on our Mississippi State trip. A lot more. The Road Dogs will be back. The Road Dog Bucket Boy, Mississippi Delta College Baseball Pepper Trail. There will be a 2.0. So stay tuned. The boys we're rolling. We're rolling. It's going to be a beautiful thing. Hopefully this team can figure it out because it's hard to grow when this team sucks.
Yeah, it absolutely it is hard. And, I'm a big fan of yours, and I can't thank you enough for coming on and keep up the good content because people are picking it up for you. And I'm extremely happy to see what has come for you in the last year or two, I would say.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me anytime. Love it. Thanks for the support.
Of course. We'll have you back at some point throughout the summer. Hopefully it's in better spirits when it comes to our favorite baseball team. But before that, we will like to send everybody to a quick commercial break.
Come on, man. We're going to Baltimore. The Wire is the best show of all time. And I've never seen such riveting TV where I actually felt like I was in East and West Baltimore every single episode. And it was just absolutely riveting and captivating from season 1 all the way to season, to it finished up.
And I'd put True Detective up there. McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. I mean, come on. It was just so well shot, so well written, directed. Like I feel like it's underrated as far as that list goes. Really good.
What I liked about him when I saw him in person at the East-West.
So I think this kid gives you a lot of potential in terms of what you're looking for up front.
I see him in the Bears offense as a Z or a slot receiver, not the X, because they want the real big guy playing the X.
He could be sitting out there in the 3rd round, and you could be getting a guy that could be your situational pass rusher.
I think he's a perfect fit for what I've been told the Bears are looking for.
This is my 3 technique for the Bears, especially if you don't take a guy like Jalen Carter at the top of the draft. This will be a nice pickup. Fits perfectly in the system.
My gut feeling is this would not be a guy the Bears would take.
It's a good name because that's a guy that I'm intrigued by. Obviously, here with the Bears, defensive line, defensive front is a huge need.
I think he's the best center in this draft.
As you could see by all those great advertisements here on the Barroom Network, the draft is coming up, and there's a lot of great stuff that's going to be coming out in terms of content with this network. Not even just before the draft or during the draft, after the draft too, because then we're going to start thinking about, how the selected players are going to fit into the organization and how it's going to impact what goes on with the team in the upcoming year. And can you put a future on the Bears to win the NFC North next year? I think those are all things that are going to be on the table, especially if Rodgers is out of Green Bay, Minnesota regresses, Detroit's going to be a problem. But are they enough of a problem where we're worried about them in the long term? That remains to be seen. So I'm super excited about what we got going on here at the Barroom Network. It's going to be a great time, and I've been covering the Chicago Bears and the Jacksonville Jaguars for Fansided with the draft, and I got a lot more content coming out over the next week or so. It's really going to ramp up too, with the draft being within a week now as of today. So that's extremely exciting. I'm rooting for all of these young men who are going to be drafted to go on to have good careers, even if they're drafted by my stinky rivals that I don't like. It's just a happy time of year where, it's about football too, but it's also about watching people realize their dreams, and we all want to realize our dreams. So it's going to be super fun, and I literally cannot wait for next Thursday. It is going to be outstanding, and the Barroom Network is the place to be, in addition to reading all my stuff where you can find it below. So great time. And thank you very much to Brian Knights for coming on to our show, talking a little bit about the draft as well. That was really cool. And then telling us about the Pepper Trail with Carl, going to Mississippi to discuss some college baseball and, things going on with the Chicago White Sox, a little bit of analysis on the Chicago Cubs too, who Brian confirmed he roots against them every single game. Very, very funny. Just great baseball conversation there, and happy to have him on. We'll have him back again some point this season. Baseball. Wow. What a world it is right now. You look up and down the standings and you're like, well, this season's not really going according to plan. Minnesota leads the AL Central with an 11-7 record. The White Sox are only 4.5 games out, right? They've been so bad. They're 3-7 in their last 10, and they still could find a way to get hot here. And I know it's going to be hard in April. And they strike me as a team where if they are going to be good by the end of the year competing for the AL Central, they kind of just got to tread water here in April because they're so injured again, and they're playing Tampa Bay and Toronto over the next 9 games. Those are 2 extremely good teams. And every team in the AL East is over 500 except the Red Sox, who are 9-10, so 1 game under. And you're playing 2 of those 3 top dogs in that division over the next 9 games, 6 of them on the road, Tampa Bay and then Toronto, and then you come back home to play the Rays again. That's tough. And, you got other teams in the, American League that are on fire. Obviously, the Texas Rangers are the surprise. I mean, Tampa Bay being 16-3 and starting 11-0 or whatever it was also a surprise. But Tampa Bay is always good. The Texas Rangers are always bad, and they're 12-6. They're 8-2 in their last 10, 4-game winning streak. Probably the second best team in the American League right now behind Tampa. And when you think about some of the additions they made in the offseason, the last 2 off seasons ago, it was Corey Seager and Semien. This offseason, it was DeGrom and Eovaldi, and it has worked out well for them. So it's been fun to watch. And another surprise team in a negative way is the Phillies, the team the White Sox just lost 2 out of 3 against. Philly they're in trouble. They're 8-11. They just won 2 of their last 3 against the White Sox, and they're still 8-11. Now they did start 0-4, and I believe that means they are 6-5 since, which it's an improvement. They got a long way to go before they're competing with the Braves for the top of the division again, but they are the defending National League champions, so we'll see if they're able to kind of keep that up a little bit. Obviously, the Braves at 14-5, and then the Mets at 12-7. The Miami Marlins at 10-9. all ahead of the Phillies right now. So it's going to take a hot minute for Philly to kind of get things going. We'll see if they're able to take this series over the White Sox and stun some people. Obviously, in the American League West, the Arizona Diamondbacks, Brian Knight's touched on it. Super electric team, keeping the Dodgers and Padres out of first place. The Arizona Diamondbacks are 11-8. Meanwhile, the Padres and the Dodgers are 9-10 and 9-11 respectively. So it's going to be interesting to see that National League West. It's normally the best division in the National League, except the problem is the Diamondbacks are normally one of those teams at the bottom of that really good division. So we'll see if they're able to sustain it. I'm not sure. A lot of people believe they will. You look at the Colorado Rockies, though, 5-14. What was Chris Bryant thinking? I mean, I know he wanted money and probably didn't want to be too much in the spotlight anymore. He just wants to play some baseball. I guess, but I would take a serious pay cut and play for a winning franchise, because a pay cut in baseball, you're still a millionaire. And it's just one of those things. I can't believe the Rockies locked him up. They locked themselves into that contract too, just to be bad. 2-8 in their last 10. They've lost 8 in a row. 5-14. It just makes no sense to me. I can't really understand what that franchise is doing, but we'll see what happens. Bryant last week hit his first home run at Coors as a member of the Rockies. He's been with the team for over a year. So it's so shocking that it took that long for that to be the case too. But then you come over to the division that'll probably gain some interest in the Chicagoland area. Of course, it's the National League Central. The Chicago Cubs are 11-6. Now they're not in first place. They're 2 games behind the 14-5 Milwaukee Brewers, and the Pittsburgh Pirates are 12-7. Not a bad record themselves. They're tied with the Cubs for 2 games out of the division. They've obviously played a couple less games, which is why they are where they are in the standings. But the St. Louis Cardinals, the team that was picked by many, including myself, to win the NL Central, 8-11. 8-11, 6 games out. You're 6 games out already. It's the end of April. They better figure it out soon, because you can't win a division in April, but you can lose one. So, the Cardinals, they're going to be trying to figure that out. They're only a half game ahead of the Cincinnati Reds, who are portrayed by many to be the worst team in the National League. I don't think they're the worst team in the National League. I think either the Rockies or the Nationals are, who are the only team I didn't touch when we talked about the East, the Nationals. But that's where I'm at on the National League. And then you go over to the American League. We touched on it all already. So the only thing I look at that A's team, the Oakland A's, man, they're 3-16, a 158 winning percentage. They are 9.5 games out of first place on April 20th. It is just unbelievable how bad they are. And it came out really late last night, like really late. I'm talking like 1 a.m. I saw the news break that the Oakland A's are potentially being shipped to Las Vegas because the franchise bought property in Vegas. And Frankie Mueller made a good point to me on our hockey show. I wonder if it's going to be a dome because of how hot it gets in Vegas in the middle of the summer. It's pretty different than an NFL team being there, because even though it's pretty warm year round, it gets really hot in the summertime. So it's very interesting what's going to happen with the A's, but they are #not good. And yeah, that's pretty much it with the standings up to this point. The Arizona Diamondbacks have DFA'd Madison Bumgarner. That's the big news today. Obviously, Bumgarner is a 3-time World Series champion with the San Francisco Giants. He was a huge part of their success as the ace of their rotation in the years where they were winning 3 World Series in a span of 6 years. It was magnificent stuff. But I don't know if his career is over. I wrote a blog about it for SouthsideShowdown.com right before coming live. No to bringing him to the Chicago White Sox. They don't need any sort of problem like that. Bumgarner's not a good pitcher anymore. They should really, truly want nothing to do with a guy like that. So I would not bring in any regressing upper 30s pitchers. That's just not where I would go at all. It should be something that is considered not in the cards for the White Sox. And the fact that we even have to have this conversation kind of bugs me, but the White Sox have been known to bring in guys like that. No, 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 no. We want nothing to do with that. Keep Madison Bumgarner's self out of here. We're already expecting a major decline from Clevenger, and Lance Lynn stinks, and we don't know how long Giolito is going to keep up his good play. Michael Kopech's a question mark, and then Dylan Cease is a superstar. But, outside of him, you don't need any more issues. So that's it for baseball on our show today. I can't thank Brian Knights enough for coming on and talking about all the things baseball with us. And tonight on the Barroom Network, you're going to want to tune into a couple of our shows. At 6 p.m., it's the Mac and Reed Show. They both have ideas on who the Bears are likely to draft in round number 1, and they will debate who is the greatest rapper of all time. Who is the greatest rapper of all time? There are a lot of people that would claim multiple different people. I don't even want to get into that because there are way too many to name. I'm not smart enough to even participate in a conversation like that. But at 8:30, Draft on Tap, Danny and Neil are going to be going on to evaluate 3 promising pass rushers who come with flaws and a lot of Justin Fields talk. So obviously, Danny and Neil, 2 of the best at evaluating prospects and what goes on with the NFL draft. So I actually highly recommend both of these shows. Draft on Tap is going to be wonderful, and I hope everybody checks out the shows here on the Barroom Network as we prepare for draft week. And if you're looking for a little bit of hockey conversation, I know not everyone here watching this is probably a New Jersey Devils fan, but that's the team I cover along with the Blackhawks. And we had Bar Down talking hockey earlier today, and we went through every playoff series and where they stand up to this point. You could find it at the Barroom Network's Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all of it. I shared it on Facebook. You could follow me at Vinnie Parisi. They took my blue check mark away. Thanks, Elon. And yeah, tonight, the pregame show at 5 o'clock. I think it's actually going to be 4:45 Central. So you'll be able to be done in time watching that in order to get to the Mac and Reed show. We'll be doing Game Day Live, previewing the game between the New Jersey Devils and the New York Rangers, one of the more compelling series in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And we'll be back next Wednesday here on the Barroom Network to talk about all what's going on in the Stanley Cup playoffs. There'll probably be a couple series that are done. There'll probably be a couple preparing for a Game 6 or a Game 7. Truly exciting stuff. And I'll be back also on Monday night with Joe Mandel and Steven Zimmerman as we get you ready for the South Burbs Hitmen, talking White Sox in great depth, and very much looking forward to that as well. So I can't thank everybody enough for listening. Brian Knights for joining the show. I will see you guys on Monday. Make sure you tune in tonight. Mac and Reed. And Draft on Tap at 8:30. And as always, thank you for listening. Q Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Another happy landing.